Namaste. Today I am going to discuss about rules pertaining to General Financial Rules 2017. Actually, this government, they have brought into new rule in 2005 at the time of UPA, but it was initiated by NDA government, notified by UPA government. In 1964 or something, that was the earlier rule, and that was replaced by 2005. Within another 12 years, in 2017, they have again notified, bringing in all online related financial transaction. This general financial rules is something like a fundamental rules for all financial dealings of Government of India and Union Territories. And some of the states also implement this GFR. But wherever central fund is involved, GFR will have to be implemented, even by state. State government, if it is their own fund and their own thing, I don't think they need to simply follow that. In line with this, they can have their own financial rules. But this central government expenditures and income, receipts and payment, everything is governed by this rule. There are lots of points, so it is going to be a multiple videos only. One by one, chapter wise I will make, and I will try to make as brief and easy as possible, so that you can, when you read the rule, you will be able to understand what it means in the rule, etc. Okay. Now, before that, Rule 1 is always the notification. It is applicable to who and all. So we are not discussing, which I have already explained. And rule number 2 is always definitions. So definitions, I am not discussing all the definitions because most of them are known to employees. Still, 1 or 2 points I wanted to make. Like head of department, every employee might be knowing. Head of office, they will be knowing. Appropriation, it is allocation of fund, etc. Something like that. All these accounts office, who is accounts officer? All these things we are not discussing in the video. But certain important things. Consolidated Fund of India. What is Consolidated Fund of India? All the monies that are brought into the Government of India account and spent from that is, simply put it, this is the one. That is what is called Consolidated Fund of India. So it is defined in Constitution of India, Article 266, Sub-Rule 1. It is, what it says is, it is a repository of all revenues received by the Government of India. It also includes inflow in various from various sources such as income tax, corporate tax, customs duty, GST central share, and non-tax revenue, capital receipt and other things. So any receipt, any amount that is received by the Government of India goes into the Consolidated Fund of India, and any expenditure is made from the Consolidated. It is a central pool kind of a thing. Okay, Contingency Fund of India. So the GFR, whatever we do, it is related to use of money from Consolidated Fund of India. As simple as that. Okay, Contingency Fund of India. You might be knowing very well, government can spend money only after it is approved by the Parliament. So every year, before April 1, nowadays they do it completely, but earlier this government has brought it, the budgeting and all, from February 28th to February 1st. So they have 2 months window, February and March. So by the time they pass the entire budget, so from April 1, as allocated to the department, they can spend from day 1. But earlier the system was like this. February 28th they will present the budget. 1 month window, they will not be able to complete the process of budget passing. So they will first go for vote on account. That is nothing but essential expenditure. Out of the total budget, certain portion required for first 3 or 4 months. Only that we can spend, and that is essential expenditure. You can't spend any new services, new projects. That has to be approved overall after discussion in the Parliament. So vote on account is without discussing anything. To start the expenditure, they do. But that system, this Modi government has done away with it. From day one, you start with new project also. So further, they started the budgetary process itself 1 month in advance. That is how it should be. Because otherwise, what they used to do earlier, first for 2-3 months they will allocate some money, so there will be some break. Then again, this parliament will sit again. So they will, department-wise, they will examine all the proposals, the standing committee, etc. All those things. I am not going into parliamentary procedure. We will, if required, I will make separate video on that. But after detailed discussion, the budget passing will happen sometime April and May only. So that after the vote on account things, once budget is allocated, June onwards completely you will get money. Each department will get money. Any new services, new schemes can be started only from that day. But that they have now changed it. Okay, this is for using the consolidated fund of India. From day one, this is what is done. Okay, now there is one situation. You might be knowing, every department, every office, every employee will be knowing, there is one thing called permanent advance. We call it as impressed amount. Each office will have some petty expenses, some small amount to meet the petty expenses. It can be any amount, depending upon the requirement. The reason is, for any urgency, you can't go through the billing process and credit invoice, all this, nothing. You spend from the impressed money where it is justified. So you can't wait for this thing. And it can be from as small as 100 rupees and as big as several lakhs of rupees also. There are cases where the salary was also paid from impressed money, but now it has become online payment. So now there is no need for keeping permanent or impressed money for salary account. But earlier, before the online payment system, in remote localities where immediately processing is not possible, permanent advance, that is impressed money, was kept even for salary. That will be required after payment of salary to the individuals. Bill will be raised and paid. That was the system. No, why I made this point is, the permanent advance is kept to meet urgent expenditure which cannot wait for normal billing process and other things. Similarly, Government of India overall, Ministry of Finance will hold, it is in the name of President of India, Contingency Fund of India. There they can keep some money. It was created in 1950. Suppose some natural calamity, unexpectedly something happens, immediately for relief measure you need money. So allocated fund, you don't have any fund. So what you will do? You have to go for parliamentary session, go for reappropriation or additional allocation. All these things, you cannot wait for any emergency expenditure. So such cases, any new things which is in emergency situation, which were not provided in the budget, then they can use from the Contingency Fund of India. And once the expenditure is over, next session, parliament session, all the expenditures will be brought in a kind of additional proposal and parliament will approve ex post facto, and then fund will be replenished from the contingency fund, whatever. It is similar to impress but big volume. At very long back it was 500 crore only, but nowadays it is very high. I will check the value until it will be much higher amount now. Okay, this is Contingency Fund of India. Capex model. These are all going to be used in the rules. That is why we are discussing all these points now. Capex model. What is Capex model? Capital expenditure is nothing but the expenditure results in creation of assets to the government. As simple as that. So this Capex model is nothing but capital expenditures used by the department to straightaway purchase goods, and to maintain that you spend money, and comprehensive maintenance you do, and finally you can dispose of the item, particular machinery, whatever you buy, after its lifetime usage. Say a computer, if it is a capital asset, maybe after 5 years you can replace it. Machineries, heavy machines, normally 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. So whatever you buy on it, this is that entire life cycle for that particular machinery. Whatever you do is considered as Capex model expenditure. So it is considered to be, because that machinery gives you production of many items. So it creates assets, it creates revenues and assets. So that is how it should be. So Capex model is you spend for capital expenditure and continue to spend till the life cycle of that particular capital asset. This is Capex model. Opex model. Operation, it is nothing but build, operate and transfer, something like that. In smaller office you might have seen photocopy machine. The supplier will give and he will have a maintenance of, he will give his machine, and for every reading he will charge separately. There is one system. It is a small way. That way, big asset they can create. They will charge, department will use that service. Now data center, private side data center, if you think of, government will pay some money, fees, whatever fees they have to pay. But it is invested and maintained by the private unit. Till you use, you pay. Once the contract is over, they can have their own this thing. That means government is not investing on purchase of those items, creation of assets. They use it from the market, use it to kind of hiring system kind of a thing. That is Opex model. Okay. These are all the small introduction to rules. All other things I am not discussing here because they are all known words, nomenclature. Accounts officer will be knowing, head of the department he will be knowing. So I am not discussing all those things. Now, one by one rule we are going to discuss, but it will be chapter wise. Today we are going to discuss about the financial propriety and other things. With that I will complete this video, and then chapter wise we will make videos. Now rule number 3, interdepartmental consultation. So where the subject particular item is a case concerning more than one department. Suppose you take a decision on, you have to take some decision where the expenditure is or the work is related to not one department. Same work, some part might be done by some other department. Then you have to necessarily do interdepartmental consultation. You can't do separately. The particular ministry cannot do standalone. The exception is cabinet. Cabinet decision is, cabinet is a group of ministers with covering almost all the departments. Cabinet ministers will have say in every department because they will discuss in the cabinet meeting and decide. So that is a higher platform. Once cabinet takes a decision, there is no need for interdepartmental consultation. That decision has to be implemented by the department council. Otherwise, it is within the ministry, it doesn't go to cabinet. Then where it involves other departments' interest or work also, then necessarily consultation has to be done with the concerned department. And then any departmental regulation of financial character. So normally if a department issue, because department can issue its own departmental instructions also, which will be a supplementary to the main rule. Every rule there will be a nodal ministry. So this GFR nodal ministry is Ministry of Finance. So personal department related orders, recruitment etc. nodal ministry is Ministry of Personnel. Health policy etc. the nodal ministry will be Ministry of Health. Like that every policy matter, every subject, so there will be a nodal ministry, they will be handling things. So department regulation, each department can issue regulations for their departmental work, which will be a supplement to the main rule. But when they do such things, that department regulation, in case that has got any financial character, that any receipt or payment is involved, they have to invariably get the approval of Ministry of Finance in advance. This is rule number 4. Now, GFR rule, if any doubt is there in the GFR rule, the interpretation will be done by Ministry of Finance only. You have a doubt on a rule, you say there is a scope for misunderstanding things. You have to write to Ministry of Finance, who will clarify what is meant by in the particular rule. In case there is any change needed, naturally they will issue amendment, etc., which is updated in the rule. This is rule number 5, removal of doubt. Modification. Now, most of them are in new system, PFMS, Public Finance Management System. So, such creation of system will be under the special orders or guidelines issued by Ministry of Finance only, no other person, because all financial dealings, anything you do, any new system you create, it will be under the special instructions by Ministry of Finance only. No other ministry can issue guidelines or anything for such matters. You take the case of PFMS. It is the easiest example because now it is used in every department. It is implemented by NIC, National Informatics Center, Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. But guidelines are issued by Ministry of Finance only, Controller General of Accounts or Ministry of Finance directly. So the idea is, anything you do, any change in the system also, it will be with the approval of Ministry of Finance under their guidelines only. Now, general system of financial management. Here with this we will close this video. The next video one by one, like chapter wise we will do. This chapter, with this chapter we are closing today, this GFR related introduction. Standards of financial propriety. What is standards of financial propriety? See, everybody is vested with some power. How they have to deal with the financial matters. There is some propriety. Something like rules which should be followed without fail. What is that? Every officer incurring expenditure or authorizing expenditure, so he is approving the expenditure from public money, it's a government money, should be guided by high standards of financial propriety. So here honesty is very important. Simply you can't throw away the money. So it is a public money, you are answerable to that. But you can't say no, I love to answer, so I can't take a call. So as an officer, you have to take a call. So you maintain a very high standard, giving room for completely honesty and giving space for transparency and no scope for any misdeeds. Okay. Every officer should also enforce financial order and strict economy and see that all relevant financial rules and regulations are observed by his own office and by the subordinate disbursing officers. And what are those, we'll see. Now, when you say you have to strictly follow the rule, and economy doesn't mean you are going to be a miser. No. What is the best possible in the given scenario? You can't say every time this is the rule I will do, depending upon the situation. Now, I will give you one example. Yeah, you, in our house, you go to the market, you find you have a problem of rat menace in the house. Now you go to the market, you are not satisfied with the the rat catch system or whatever it is. The cost you feel is more, and so you feel you will try to see best thing in a moderate expenditure. You don't need to go for lowest thing and all those things. You will only see best thing with a reasonable rate. You find in the market one rat catch system costing some 10,000 rupees. Another you feel it's some 500 or some 1,000 rupees. You see, for house 1 or 2 items you are going to get. So naturally you will think of buying that 500 or 1,000 only. Now you have a business go down. You have a lot of grains and the rat menace is huge. So now you have to spend hugely only. And the cost, here you have to see the durability. because it is a continuously you will be using. So even if you pay little more also, you will be ready to buy. So it all depends upon. So it's not that when you have cheaper value with good quality, you will go for higher rate. But when you need more, and when there is emergency, and you don't get immediately the cheaper value, even higher value also you will be buying. These are all standards. So it only, you have to justify the situation also, whatever you take a decision. Given the situation, what you have done is right. That is very important. Normally I have not seen most of the people deciding on this line. They will be afraid one, or they will have hidden agenda. I am not blaming all, but sizable number of people with whom I have interacted. I used to say, be honest first, and because the rule says like that, ultimately you have to ensure the government functions well. There is no damage in the work and other things. So that's what you have to do. Okay, now every officer is expected to exercise the same vigilance in respect of expenditure incurred from public monies as a person of ordinary prudence would exercise in respect of expenditure of his own money. Exactly, this is what I was telling now. You go to the market, government doesn't say you be miser. You go to the market, you buy vegetables. You try to get good quality, but good quality itself, one shop gives a larger rate, higher rate, another shop gives little less. You will try to buy from the lesser value only, but quality you see. You won't go for rejected items or the stale item or something like that, because that is given very cheaper, so you get something and remove all wastage. And no, you will not do. Ordinary prudence. Such things will be done by a miser. And government doesn't say, you compare with a spendthrift. I don't know how he gets money. He throws away the money. He goes to the market. Anything higher. No, not like that. So government doesn't say, even spendthrift model also. So as an ordinary prudence man, how we will decide? This is how we have to do in the government expenditure also. This is very important point. Everybody should keep in mind. So government doesn't want you to be a miser when spending government money. You have to be honest. But you can't be spendthrift also, and you can't be miser also. What is reasonable, you have to do. As simple as that. And what is reasonable is again open-ended. It is given the situation you have to see. Every time you can't say that this is the only reasonable way. The situation you have to see. Circumstance. How it makes. So you have to judge. You have to be a better judge for that. Expenditure should not be prima facie more than the occasion demands. Exactly. The first point, it is a continuation. For a particular time, for this occasion, this is sufficient. You should think. But in emergency situation, you need more expenditure. Nothing wrong. You have to justify. Because safeguarding public interest is the government duty. So there you have to see what is emergency. You will understand easily. So otherwise, expenditure should not be prima facie more than the occasion demand. It should be within the level only. No authority should exercise its powers of sanctioning expenditure to pass an order which will be directly or indirectly to its own advantage. Simple example I can say, an officer who is granting honorarium should not sanction honorarium for himself. This is the classic, easiest example. He cannot sanction honorarium for himself. For his subordinate, if he is competent enough, he can sanction. If he is delegated with the power, he can sanction honorarium to the subordinate staff, but not for himself. In another video, I have discussed about this point, but things came. I met with one situation. I was head of office in NIC headquarters that time. One state center. The state heads were delegated with the full power for medical bill reimbursement. Similarly, in Delhi, the Joint Director General Coordination is delegated with full power. I was holding the power, so we were handling. But from one state, some small medical reimbursement was 500 rupees or 600 rupees something. It is much less than 1000 rupees. And the SIO is vested with 100% power, similar to the one which is granted to the ministry itself. But the DDO said, no, you cannot sanction for your medical, you send it to Delhi. I wrote, this doesn't come within this thing, SIO can approve it. It is normal bill passing, but honorarium is special sanction. It is not normal. This is normal claim. You have to go by the rule, and the expenditure is as per the rule. Yes, the putting up authority will say, yes, this is correct, claim is right. The competent authority can approve. Competent authority happens to be the same person. Nothing wrong. So once I wrote, that particular officer was very happy that at least you clarified, otherwise these people will do like this only. This is one example I am telling. People should differentiate what is within the delegated power and where an officer can pass bill for himself. At the same rate, they can say you can't draw your salary. You have to take approval from higher authority every time. They may say, who knows. It becomes like that. But payment of honorarium is a special, which is not the normal thing. So I find one classic example, so I am making this. So honorarium, an officer cannot sanction to himself. He has to take higher authority's approval for himself. For subordinate things, they can make if he is vested with the financial power for grant of honorarium. Okay. Now, expenditure from public money should not be incurred for the benefit of a particular person or a section of people. So it should be for all, but for a particular person or a group of people, exception is, it cannot be done, it should be done everybody. Exception is, suppose a particular person, the claim is raised through court and it is enforced by a court of law. Yes, he was due to get, it was denied or whatever it is, or under special circumstances he went to court, court has ordered to pay. There is no, so it need not be similar to everybody we have to pay. That it's a matter of policy decision, whether to be paid for all the people or not. This is one thing. Second point, expenditure is in pursuance of a recognized policy or custom. Policy is, suppose you say transport allowance only for differently abled, that is physically handicapped people, it is given double. For all other employees, it is one value. For them, it is double. So it is a policy. Government wants to encourage them to come forward and work and all. And similarly, if there is a custom in the area, approved custom, that also can be done. This is standards of financial propriety. Now, with this, we are concluding this video. You continue to watch other videos. I will complete all the rules relating to GFR. I am preparing now. It takes, so that is why I am not able to say how many videos it may come. Okay, thank you.